Raptor Red by Robert T. Bakker, or Bakker, maybe Baker, I don't know. But this book is perhaps one of the more unique in my collection. It is a prime example of xenofiction, being, as the title might have indicated, the story of a dinosaur. Now, Robert T. Bakker, or Bakker, or Baker, however the hell you pronounce his name, is a leading paleontologist. In fact, I believe he is one of the most renowned paleontologists in the world. He also served as a consultant on Jurassic Park as regards the design of the dinosaurs in that movie. But with this book, Raptor Red, he took all his paleontological knowledge and channeled it into a fictional novel which tells the story of a dinosaur. Raptor Red follows a female Utahraptor, and Utahraptor, as I'm given to understand it, I think was discovered, the fossils were discovered, I believe, in the 90s, actually right around the time Jurassic Park came out, I think. And what's interesting about Utahraptor is that Utahraptor actually much more closely resembles the raptors in Jurassic Park than actual velociraptors do, because if you're familiar with dinosaurs and if you've seen Jurassic Park, you'll know that the raptors in Jurassic Park are called velociraptors, but in real life, velociraptors were actually much smaller than the raptors featured in the film. But Utahraptor, I think, actually is much closer in size and stature to the raptors in the Jurassic Park movie. But anyway, so I believe it was in the 90s that the fossils of Utahraptor were discovered. It's called Utahraptor because it was discovered in Utah, which is a very fossil-rich area. But anyway, so the story of Raptor Red follows a female Utahraptor called Red, or Raptor Red because of her coloration, in the Cretaceous period in North America, very ancient prehistoric North America. And the book just basically follows a year in her life as she loses one mate and then eventually kind of joins up with her sister and her sister's chicks. And then they hunt and survive and journey across the land. And then eventually Raptor Red meets a new mate and has little baby raptor chicks of her own. So that's pretty much the plot of the book. It's just a year in the life of this dinosaur. So yeah, now as to the technical qualities of this book, let's talk about the writing. So first things first, the dinosaurs in this book are not anthropomorphized. It's not like The Land Before Time. They're animals, and they are portrayed as animals, but they are portrayed as very intelligent animals. And that's, I think, one of Robert T. Bakker, or Bakker, Baker, whatever, one of his biggest contributions to the field of paleontology, I believe, is that he was one of the first people to postulate that dinosaurs were not the slow-moving, stupid lizard-like monstrosities which they have often been portrayed like in film, but that they were actually much more akin to birds, avians, and they were perhaps much more intelligent than we gave them credit for. And Raptor Red, the book here, allows him to kind of dramatize his theories regarding dinosaurs. So like I said, they are not anthropomorphized. They are portrayed as animals, but they are portrayed as much more advanced animals than you might expect. They have very complex social bonds, and they do have personalities, kind of. They're much more kind of like a wolf pack. They're smarter than dinosaurs perhaps have historically been given credit for, but they don't talk. Again, it's not like The Land Before Time. This is much more kind of a nature documentary in print. It's like Walking with Dinosaurs in print. But anyway, so as to the actual writing of the book, it's not great. It's very workmanlike. There's no real poetry to the writing here. And at times it's so science intensive that it reads more like a textbook than it does like a novel. But that's to be expected with something like this. Again, this book was never intended to be some kind of like masterpiece of prose. It is supposed to be an informative uh, kind of edutainment novel, which tells the story of a dinosaur, and through that story imparts information and certain theories about the lives of dinosaurs. So I'll forgive it. It's not the most breathtaking thing in terms of its prose, but that's just kind of the nature of the beast with this kind of writing. So I'll get a pass there. It's not like badly written, but it's very textbookish kind of at times. But the information in here is very fascinating, and I actually really appreciated it. So take that how you will. Now, as to the characters, there are no characters in this. We have dinosaurs, which are portrayed as the animals which they were. Even though they are portrayed as highly intelligent animals, there's still nothing in here what you would call um, character development, really. Um, or at least not in human terms as we are accustomed to. The animals are driven by their instinctual motivations, their drive to eat and reproduce. That's their goals in this, as are the goals of pretty much all animals to fulfill their bodily needs and to perpetuate their species. And that's what the drama of this book is about, is Raptor Red and her accomplices as they try to survive in a very harsh and unforgiving environment. But I got to give it to Robert T. Bakker. He does manage to make you care about Raptor Red in this, even though she doesn't have the most like human of personalities. We do understand her. We do understand her motivations, and we understand um, how it is these forces which have allowed us, to come about. This is an interesting book because it shows just how far life had to come, the hurdles that life had to jump, that life had to find a way, to quote Dr. Malcolm from um, Jurassic Park. And so we see, even though her motivations, Raptor Red's motivations, that is, are much more simplistic than our very complex human motivations in our day to day lives, we still see a part of ourselves in Raptor Red because we recognize that her dinosaurs, precede humanity, but we still recognize certain aspects of ourselves. I mean, everybody likes to eat. Everybody likes to get down, so to speak, and that's at the end of the day, that is literally what life is about biologically. And so we do kind of relate to Raptor Red, and we understand her plight as she feels um, at times in the book as that she has failed because she has lost a mate in the beginning of the book, and she has not fulfilled her biological duty to perpetuate her species by raising little baby raptor chicks. So we do feel kind of for her in those times when she feels as though she has failed her biological imperative. So again, not much here in the way of character development as we would humanly conceive of it, but there is still some things here that we can kind of latch onto. However simplistic the motivations of the dinosaurs may be, we still kind of recognize aspects of ourselves in them because, like I said, life had to find a way for us to get here. The dinosaurs had to do it first, So, yeah. Now, as to the plot of the book, it's just a year in the life of a dinosaur. So yeah, I'm not gonna harp too much on that because it's just hunt, eat, you know, journey to a more suitable habitat, repeat. So yeah, let's talk about the kind of the impact I'll say that the book had on me because I have to say I thoroughly enjoyed Raptor Red. I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. Um, it's a very thoughtful book. I got to say that because The thing about dinosaurs is that, like, when you're in a museum, right, and you see like the T-Rex skeleton, you know, and you walk underneath it, there's that feeling of awe that it inspires, because these were creatures that long predated us. I mean, that lived, hundreds of millions of years ago. Like, they lived so long ago that it's kind of hard for our human minds that kind of just judge things in terms of decades and centuries to even grasp how long ago this was. Um, but it's also that they don't resemble much of the animals that we encounter in our world today. There's such a foreign alien quality when it comes to dinosaurs that there's kind of that awe that they inspire whenever you see their fossils or you see their skeletons hung up in museums, because you got to you recognize that we're just a sliver of that our human time is just a sliver of this planet's existence, and that there were creatures that were radically different from us that lived, long, long before us, and all that remains of them are their bones. And that all our speculations about their existence are just that, speculations, informed guesswork based on kind of um, reconstructions based on some, reasonable guesswork, you might say. But that what I love about Raptor Red, the book, is that it really captures that. This is written by someone who was obviously very, very passionate about dinosaurs, and that shows through. It really does, because it makes you reflect about the history of life on this planet, which, as far as we know at present, may be the history of life in the entire universe. It's a book that really it's kind of sobering at times, because you read about the hard scrabble existences of these creatures, and you know that they had to do it first before we had our, um, you know, shelters and purified water and, factory farming, that these creatures had to walk the earth before us. Life had to crawl before it ran. And we can't lose sight of that. Dinosaurs, they're such interesting creatures, because I mean, we just know so little. We know so little about them. We can guess and speculate a lot, but as far as like concrete knowledge, we don't have much other than that they existed and they were animals, and we just kind of have to piece their world together based on what we've got. But it's looking, at the fossils of dinosaurs. It kind of just inspires that feeling of awe that this planet is so much older, um, than we probably normally think about it being, because we judge things in terms of time that are so much. We judge our terms of time are so much smaller, um, than what you would have to conceive to even approach the 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 length of time that the dinosaurs lived before us. But it really is just a book that really makes you reflect on that, and it's a thoughtful book, which I really appreciate. And it's written, again, by someone who is very passionate about dinosaurs, and it shines through. And I just really liked it. So yeah, to rate Raptor Red, I'm going to give Raptor Red a B minus. Literarily, it may not be the most um, astounding thing that you're ever going to read. But for what it is, it's a great little book. It is, and it's not a long book. I think this. Let's see, this paperback here is like 250 pages even. So yeah, it's not a long book, but it serves as a great vehicle to kind of make you ponder about the history of this planet and the history of the life that has walked it. And it's a fun, again, kind of piece of edutainment that tells a really pretty riveting story at times, but one that also imparts some information about dinosaurs and their struggles. And so I had a blast with it. I really did. Again, literarily, it may not knock your socks off, but for what it is, it's a great little book, and I'm going to give it a B minus because I really did like it. So yeah, Raptor Red by Robert T. Bakker or Baker, whatever his name is. Have you read Raptor Red? If you have, let me know down in the comments what you thought about it, whether you have agreed or disagreed with anything I've said about it here today. And if you haven't read Raptor Red, I could really recommend this. It's a little dry, perhaps at times, because the preoccupations of the story are so science intensive. But if you're into that, there's a lot of stuff here to enjoy. In fact, I found it highly interesting reading about not only the designs of these creatures and how they perhaps function in their world, but also certain aspects of their anatomy which have carried over into life present day, such as the ability to see certain colors and not see certain other colors, and the you know the the nature of their olfactory senses and such. So yeah, I think there's a lot to enjoy here, and I think there's a lot to recommend. So yeah, I definitely could recommend this. I think it's a fun little book that can offer some neat lessons as well. And as always, if you have enjoyed anything you've seen or heard here today, remember to hit that like button and subscribe. Would really appreciate it. And until next time, peace.